city, and there was an emergency warning that the riverbanks nearby would soon overflow, and all the houses would be flooded, and so government officials ordered everybody to leave as quickly as possible. But there was one man who said, I'm not going to leave. I'm a Christian man, I'm faithful, I will put my faith in God, and God will save me. And so he stayed. And then the waters came turning in, and the neighbors stopped by his house in a car, and they said, come on, we have a spare place, please jump on the car, leave with us, and then you'll be safe. He said, no, I will put my faith in God, and God will save me. And the waters rose higher and higher, and he had to retreat to the second floor of his building. Luckily, a police boat came by, and they spotted him sitting there, and they said, come on out of the window, come on into our boat, and then you'll be safe. He again said, no, I'll stay. I put my faith in God, and God will save me. And the water rose even higher and higher and higher, and he had to retreat all the way to the rooftop of his house. And a helicopter came by and spotted him down there, and they came by and let down a rope ladder. They said, come on, grab the ladder, we'll pull you up, and then you'll be safe. And he said, no, go save somebody else. I will put my faith in God, and he will save me. Soon after, the house broke down and was swept away, and the man drowned. Poor guy. And an instant later, he was knocking at the pearly gates of heaven, and he was let in, and he was furious, and he walked straight up to God and said, what the hell? What the hell were you thinking? He didn't say what the hell. Okay. Dear God, what were you thinking? I put all my faith in you. Why didn't you save me? And God said, oh, Jesus, I'm so sorry. I really wanted to save you. I sent you a car and a boat and a helicopter. What? Okay, today I want to talk to you about luck and about being lucky. And initially I planned to call this talk How to Get Lucky. I found out that this means something entirely else. I'm not a native speaker. So I'll call this How to Be the Architect of Your Own Fortune. And there we have the word fortune. It's a really nice word, and the word is derived from a name, and that name is Fortuna. And Fortuna was the goddess of luck and of fate in the Roman mythology. And what you can clearly see on the picture is that she's blindfolded. She cannot see. And that's what the Romans thought about luck and about chance. She is blindfolded. She can bestow upon each of us bad luck, but also fortune and good luck. But she's not supposed to care about the recipient. We are not to interfere. And we cannot even interfere with luck and with fate. That's what the Romans thought. And I believe that this is not true. And today I'm here to convince you that we can be the architects of our own fortune, at least to a certain extent. We can have an influence on our luck. And to convince you, I will draw upon the work of some great scientists. I will draw upon the wisdom of some of the ancient and more contemporary sages. And I will also tie in a little bit of my own personal history, especially with TEDtalks. But first thing is about you. I have a question for you. So here I have a 100 Kronen bill, which is worth roughly 15 US dollars, I guess. My question is, who of you wants to have this bill? Me. So there's not all arms going up. This is okay. Would somebody please come up here on stage and collect the bill? Okay, thank you. A big round of applause for our representative. I like that one. So what happened here? I mean, not all of your arms were going up. Are you really rich? Are you? I don't know. So what were you thinking? Why weren't you all coming up on stage? I mean, it was something like, is he giving away that money? Really? No, no. Oh, damn, he is. So, come on. That's what he did. And that's the first lesson I have for you today. I think that luck favors those people who act. You go out and do something, you say yes. This guy said yes, and he ran out to the stage, and now he's 100 Kronen richer. Congratulations. First lesson. And this is where my own history with TED Talks ties in. So I'm not on a TEDx stage for the first time. This is a picture from the very first time, which was last year in Cologne in Germany. And I talked for about 5 minutes on how to not get mad in a traffic jam. But that's not the important point. The important point is I wasn't invited as a speaker. I was a regular guest, just like most of you are today. And the thing is that one of the speakers canceled on that day. And instead of having a longer break, the organizing team said, okay, let's take those 18 to 20 minutes and split them by 3. And then we ask the audience, and whoever wants to come up and share a story, we'll give them a chance. And if you want to do so, please write your name down on a piece of paper and put it on the speaker desk. And I did. And then my name was pulled, and that was luck, because there were 10 or 12 pieces of paper on the desk. So I had like a 30% chance of being picked. That is the lucky element. But then there's also something else. First of all, I had to be there. I mean, that's straightforward, but I had to be there. I had to buy the ticket, otherwise I couldn't have been picked from that stack. Straightforward. You have to be there in the first place. Second thing is I had to, what I call, express myself. I had to say, yes, I want to do it. Write down my name on that piece of paper. I want to do this. Yes, I can do this. I have something interesting to share. So I wrote my name down. And then the final ingredient is I had to say yes. Because when my name was read through the microphone, I was really, really nervous, and I could have said no. I could have gone chicken and said, no, I'm not here. But I said yes. And I gave my little impromptu TED Talk, and it was a big success, and I wanted more. That's why I'm here today. But there's something else. I think in order to be able to pull out that stunt, you need to be prepared. If I didn't have an interesting story in the back of my mind, I couldn't have gone up on that stage. So here you have it. And this is the punchline for today that I came up with like last night. Prepare, be there, express, and say yes. That's the central ingredient to creating your own fortune. And now I would like to have a look at those ingredients in more detail. So this guy,
his name is Louis Pasteur,
and he's famously quoted as saying, chance favors the prepared mind. And I've heard Oprah Winfrey using the same phrase, so I guess he stole it from her. Chance favors the prepared mind. When he said that, he was especially talking about scientific discovery. And I think he's right, because what happens in scientific discovery, we've heard a lot about that, you have to understand what you see when you see something. You have to understand what you see when you see something. You have to connect the dots. You have to discover patterns, and then you have to make sense of it. And that takes prior training, that takes expertise, that may even take some wisdom. And that's why you need to be prepared in order to be lucky. Next stage is Woody Allen, and Woody Allen is often quoted as saying 80% of success in life is showing up. That's what I mean, you have to be there. Congratulations, you're here today, you showed up. And this is an important part, because if you don't go out and mingle with people, you're not going to be lucky. Luck seldom finds us in the confinements of our own homes, sitting there alone. Luck comes to us in form of other people. So you have to go out and meet people and talk to people. It's essential for being lucky. And then we have a little bit of science in here, because it's not only quotes and God. This guy is actually a professor of psychology. His name is Richard Wiseman. He's from Great Britain. And he used to be a professional magician in his former life. So he has a very special take on psychology. I love him. And he has published this book about 10 years ago, which is called The Luck Factor. So he scientifically studied lucky people, or those that consider themselves lucky. And a lot of what I'm telling you today is based on his ideas, so read the book, it's great. And what he found out is a lot of interesting things. For one thing, lucky people, or those who consider them lucky, are just working harder. Yeah? For example, they try harder in solving puzzles and whatever you do in a psychological lab. And he found out that they are grittier. They try harder, and that's part of being lucky. Just give your best. But there's another thing that he found out, and this is what I call the part express. Express yourself. You have to go out and express yourself. You have to tell life what you have to offer. You have to express yourself, and you have to let others express themselves, and you have to listen. And you have to find the connections, make the dots, find the patterns. You have to be there, be mindful, be open, be present. You have to listen. That's the secret ingredient of luck. And finally, the part where you say yes. Where you say yes. I found this nice quote of Sir Richard Branson, and I'm sure he knows a lot of things about getting lucky or being lucky. I don't know. So, this on YouTube and on LinkedIn. He says, if somebody offers you an amazing opportunity, but you're not sure you can do it, say yes, and then learn how to do it later. And this is where, again, I want to tie in a little bit of my own personal experience with TED Talks, because today I'm here. Obviously, I'm here up on stage. And the thing is, I was invited to give this talk last Monday. When were you invited? Like a couple of months ago? So I was invited on Monday. And the thing is, I met one of the organizers, TJ, about 3 months ago in Berlin. And for some reason we met again last week in London. And we had lunch together and we were talking about what he's doing here. So he told me about that he's finalizing his TED conference in Bergen. And then we all went our way. And last Monday I was back in Germany and I got a little message on Facebook and it was TJ and he asked me, okay, can you be on Norway on Saturday? So I'm German. I'm German and we're not a very outgoing, optimistic people. So here's what a proper German would have said. It was on Saturday in Norway. You know, I have to do grocery shopping on Saturday, and then there's soccer on TV, and Norway is just really, really far away. I said yes. I said yes, now I'm here. Truth be told, I asked my wife for permission first. And she said yes, and then I said yes, and now I'm here, and speaking to all of you. This is a beautiful thing. Yes is such a beautiful word. We have to say yes. Luck favors those people that say yes a lot. You say yes for me? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. That's great. How does it feel? Good. Yeah. Okay, let's put a little more science in here. So this guy is Stephen Johnson. He's a brilliant author. And a couple of years ago, he's written a book by the name of Where Great Ideas Come From. Where Great Ideas Come From. And what you can imagine from the title is a book about innovation and creativity. And one central core concept in that book is the idea of the adjacent possible. And he borrowed that term from a biologist. And what is the adjacent possible? It's a possible state of some entity in the near future that is very likely that it's going to happen. It's just within our reach. An adjacent possible. And that means that there's also a non-adjacent possible. So there's always constraints on what can happen next. I'll give you an example. If you go back 1 billion years in time, there was a world where there was only monads, like single-cell beings. And evolution could not just jump from single-cell beings to dinosaur, because the dinosaur was not an adjacent possible for a single-cell being. It is possible, but it was far away. What was possible maybe is 2 cells, and then 4 cells, and then you have a cell cluster and more complex structures. And that's how evolution moves, from adjacent possible to adjacent possible. And Stephen Johnson, he transferred this idea to the realm of entrepreneurship and innovation. And here's the same thing. Innovation doesn't make big jumps. It always looks for the adjacent possible. For example, if I were the one who wanted to build the first motor car, 100 years ago, 120 years ago, I needed to have certain ingredients that were already there. The wheel. I don't know, metal, combustion engine, and oil refining. And if those things are there, I can put them together. And then the motor car is an adjacent possible. But without those things, it is not. And I think this is really the underlying mechanism of getting more luck in our lives. by going out to TED Talks, talking to people, exchanging ideas, mingling and getting feedback. This is how all of us enlarge our personal sphere of the adjacent possible. And by enlarging the sphere of our adjacent possible, we make things possible that are not possible for other people. So congratulations on coming to the TED Talk today. And let me, for closing, take this to a whole nother level. And for that I need this guy. You like him? This is Esa Saarinen, and he's one of Finland's most eminent philosophers. And I surely do, he looks like a philosopher, don't you think? Yeah, he's a brilliant guy, and I had the honor of being his student last year when I attended the University of Pennsylvania. And he, together with a co-worker, has created a theory which he calls systems intelligence. And I cannot go into that too deep today. But one essential feature of systems intelligence is the idea that there are systems of holding back. More precisely, systems of holding back in return and in advance. And again, I'll give you an easy example. Boy meets girl. Boy falls in love with girl. Boy wants to tell her that he's in love with her. But he's also very afraid. What will she say? Will she accept me? Will she turn me down? So he gets frightened and he doesn't say. Meanwhile, girl has fallen in love with boy and she's waiting for him. Why doesn't he say something? Why doesn't he say something? She doesn't open her mouth as well. And that's a system of holding back in return and in advance. But they both don't share, they both don't say yes. And the turnout is very negative for both of them because they never get together. It's such a sad story. But the truth is, this happens to all of us every day. And it's not only between lovers, it's in families, it's in friendships, it's in co-workers and co-workers and co-workers and their bosses. It's in political parties, it's between whole nations. We want to give something, we want to do good, we want to share, but we are also afraid that we will be turned down. And that's why we hold back ourselves. And I think we need to counter these systems of holding back, because once these systems are in place, they make it even more unlikely to contribute in the future, because in a system of holding back, giving yourself and saying yes goes against the grain. So all of us in this room and all over the world, we have to counter these systems of holding back. So my question to you is, what is your unique contribution to the world? What is your big contribution? But what also is your everyday contribution? When are you holding back? When do you say no when you should really say yes? And how can you bring more luck into your life and that of others? And you know my punchline by now, it's prepare, be there, express, and say yes. So once more, prepare, be there, express, and say yes. Thank you very much.